The story begins with a girl lying in bed, fearing the morning. She wishes to stay in her dreams all day, as the truth is too harsh to face. We learn that the girl's name is Asahina Wakaba. At dawn, she feels a wave of sadness, heads to the bathroom to freshen up, and starts washing her face. Glancing at her reflection in the mirror, she places her hand on the glass and mutters how dreadful she looks, convinced she can't face her family with such an appearance. The scene shifts to her family at home. Asahina, now in her uniform, greets them cheerfully with a bright good morning. Her father, lowering his newspaper, replies warmly, noticing how happy she seems. Her mother chimes in, remarking that anyone would be cheerful after such a long sleep and suggesting she should wake up early more often. A young child also chimes in, offering Asahina a cheerful morning. The younger twin, Asahina Futaba, brims with excitement, bouncing as she exclaims how sunny the day is. She is overjoyed to see the sun shining, its rays streaming through the window. Wakaba, sharing her sister's enthusiasm, responds cheerfully, agreeing that it's a refreshing change after last week's constant rain. Their father, however, grimaces and remarks that he dislikes rain, it gives him the creeps. Futaba bursts out laughing at her father's exaggerated expression, only to be scolded by their mother to finish breakfast quickly or risk being late for school. Wakaba agrees, saying she can't tolerate being late. Curious, Wakaba asks her father what he bought yesterday. Excitedly, he reveals it's something he has been waiting for. Wakaba teases that he must have bought a Mandem model, calling him old. Offended, he corrects her it's Bandem, not Mandem, and reminds her he's explained this countless times. Futaba jokes the two words sound alike, but their father dismisses it, lamenting how people don't understand the brilliance of male reverie. Wakaba praises the model, cheering him up instantly. He promises to gift her a secret red jacket next time. Wakaba, smiling warmly, says she could never refuse such a gift. But the clock catches their attention. They're running late. Hurriedly slipping on their shoes, they set off for school, their joy lighting up their faces. At the station, Futaba waves goodbye, her smile radiant as she expresses how much she treasures walking together. Yet as Wakaba continues alone, a heavy unease settles in. Her fleeting happiness fades, knowing the moments ahead will be far from kind. Later, she sits quietly on a chair, her gaze heavy with melancholy. Wakaba overhears a conversation between her classmates, one asking if the other saw his message from the night before. The second classmate apologizes, saying she fell asleep, and jokingly adds that she might take him to karaoke as punishment. As their conversation shifts, they notice Wakaba and begin teasing her, mocking her for acting like a diligent student. They say her only friends are her books. Just then, Nanase Kumi, one of the classmates, steps in, expressing frustration over how cruelly Wakaba is treated, yet remains unaffected, admitting that she won't be able to tolerate. Shaojiria smiles faintly and remarks that Nanase is one of a kind, unlike Asahina. Shaoji asks Torimaki for his opinion, and she agrees, saying she's doing them a favor. He remarks that Wakaba is such an immoral girl, finding happiness in her own misery. With her head down, Wakaba reflects on everything, wondering why it turned out this way. Her only mistake was wanting to live a normal school life. Talking to people had always been a struggle for her, making it difficult to make friends. She had hoped everything would fall into place once she entered high school, but nothing went as planned. She blames herself for everything, feeling nothing but accusations and rejection for the past 6 months. Hiding her inner wounds, Wakaba muses that she once thought school life was supposed to be fun, but she was wrong. She never wanted any of this. Suddenly, Nanase slams her hand on the table, her voice sharp and commanding as she demands Asahina to stop ignoring her. Asahina meets her gaze, her tone cold as she replies, "Why?" Nanase, overwhelmed with frustration, shouts at Wakaba, asking if she can't do anything about her constant behavior. Rather than defending herself, Wakaba quietly apologizes. Nanase, seeing her as distant and pessimistic, grabs her hair and with a sharp tone warns her not to act superior just because of her appearance, pulling her hair as she speaks. As the bell rings for the break, the teacher leaves and Wakaba quietly slips out of the classroom with her lunchbox, searching for a secluded spot. When she finds one, she sits down, only to find her food cold. With a sigh, she thinks it's better than being spoiled. But her eyes light up when she notices a beautifully presented meal, bringing a rare sense of comfort. In these moments, she feels closest to her family, even though deep down she wishes she didn't have to come to school. If she shared this with her parents, she knew it would only cause them worry, and she couldn't bear to see them distressed. With a quiet resolve, she reassures herself that she only needs to endure one more year, knowing that soon her classes will change. While eating, Wakaba hears a loud, disturbing voice that startles her. It seems to echo from behind the bushes, where one guy angrily calls another a vile person, challenging him to repeat his words. The second boy responds, saying the first is incapable of seeing the true value of gouge, and mockingly begins to ridicule his name. A lad, Bezin Ryuichi, appears, angrily claiming the other is just putting on a facade and calling him a fool. The other retorts, saying he simply meant that girls look beautiful without glasses, but if Bizin takes them off, he looks terrifying. Enraged, Bizin starts a fight, leaving Wakaba confused about why they're even arguing. Amid the chaos, another man, Nakagawa Shun, arrives, urging them to stop fighting. He advises Ryuichi to stop overreacting and warns Haruto against starting fights without reason. Ryuichi is furious with Haruto for insulting him. Wakaba recognizes all three boys. She recognizes Nakagawa-kun, the class topper who consistently aces exams, even national ones. His status has risen so high that it seems he alone elevates the school's reputation. Bizin-kun, known for his impressive physical prowess, earned a starting spot on the soccer team. His wealth is evident, even having a personal maid. Both are quite famous at school. Just then, Bizin declares he will teach Haruto the true essence of eroge, and the chubby boy, holding his stomach, asks if Bizin is referring to Muscle Brain and calls him a spoiled brat. The chubby boy is revealed to be Iruma Haruto, who, with a broad smile, declares he'll prove his belly isn't just for show. Wakaba explains that Haruto is often called ugly, fat, and dirty. During the entrance ceremony, he got overly emotional about a lousy game and was dragged out. His unique appearance has earned him countless nicknames from others. Bizin tells Haruto that every game promotes health and questions the purpose of living such a shallow, foolish life. Haruto counters, saying every game is silly in its way, but also an absolute delight. Bizin realizes Haruto only ever spouts nonsense, living in a 2D fantasy world, indifferent to 3D reality. Though aware of how much people dislike him, Haruto remains unfazed, leaving Wakaba puzzled by his carefree attitude. Looking at her lunch, she reflects that since joining this school, she has never truly smiled from the heart. Haruto's carefree nature leaves her astonished. She quickly finishes her meal and leaves the spot quietly. Nanase is chatting with her friends, feeling bored, and wondering why people find this dullness so peaceful. She's relieved that tests are approaching, hoping for something interesting to happen, like someone falling dramatically. Suddenly, she hears a scream. "Die, disgusting person." She's confused, unsure of what's going on. The sounds are from a fight between Bizin and Iruma. Bizin is trying to calm Haruto, who's furious, accusing Bizin of flirting with every girl. Nanase is puzzled, not understanding why they always end up arguing at the school gate every morning. Bizin, frustrated, tells Haruto to stop repeating the same nonsense. Bizin's maid arrives with a special bento, filled with his favorite garage. The mention of karage makes Bizin smile with delight. Haruto, witnessing this, grows jealous and becomes unable to control his emotions. He starts crying, exclaiming that it's an unfair society if someone doesn't get a bento made with love. He yells, saying the Japanese government should do something about it. Bizin explains that his maid is like family to him, a big sister or mother figure. When she pouts, he asks her why. Nakagawa reassures Haruto, telling him not to worry about Bizin, as he's just a bit crazy. Haruto, wiping his tears and pulling out comic books from his bag, says that his dream of a perfect 3D world will never be realized, and he will only marry a 2D girl, of which there are thousands. Shaoji, feeling frustrated, talks to her friends about the constant fights that start early every morning and how she can no longer tolerate them. She believes Haruto has become a burden to the school, and his arrogance has only increased since becoming friends with Bizin. Nanase begins to think about it, and Shoji asks what she's thinking. An idea forms in Nanase's mind. She decides to use Wakaba for her own advantage, aiming to kill two birds with one stone. Meanwhile, Wakaba sitting quietly in class when a sudden commotion outside catches her attention. Curious, she steps out and sees Nanase surrounded by a group of girls, all admiring a charming something in her hand. The piece is so mesmerizing that even Wakaba feels drawn to it but quickly steps back, telling herself she has no reason to stay. To her surprise, Nanase gestures for her to come closer and, in an unusually soft tone, promises to show the ornament to her specifically. Wakaba hesitates, doubting those words. Such kindness is unlike her. But as Nanase gently urges her again, Wakaba starts to wonder what has changed. She rushes to see the ornament in Nanase's hand. When it's shown to her, she admires it deeply and asks if it's a pocket mirror. Holding it carefully, she gets lost in its beauty, but suddenly she feels a jolt. The mirror slips from her hands, falls to the ground, and shatters. Nanase shrieks in disbelief, demanding to know what Wakaba has done. Wakaba panics and nervously insists it wasn't her fault. Someone pushed her from behind. Nanase begins fake crying, claiming the mirror was an expensive birthday gift, and sarcastically asks if Wakaba can even afford to pay for it. Embarrassed and guilty, Wakaba repeatedly apologizes. Seeing her so embarrassed, Nanase, considering her a poor and insignificant girl, says she knows Wakaba didn't break the mirror on purpose and will forgive her. Wakaba feels relieved and grateful, but then Nanase adds, on one condition. Wakaba, lowering her head in submission, says she's willing to do whatever Nanase asks. Nanase, trying to trick Wakaba, gives her a sly smile and suggests playing a punishment game. With an air of mischief, she tells Wakaba to confess her feelings to Iruma-kun and asks him to go out with her. She goes further, adding with a teasing grin that she should become Haruto's girlfriend. Wakaba is utterly shaken, unable to believe what she's hearing. Bowing her head, she falls into deep thought, overwhelmed by fear and uncertainty. Seeing her hesitation, Nanase asks mockingly if she knows who Iruma from Class 1 is. Wakaba, trembling, nods hesitantly in response. He's a fat, obnoxious loser, a chubby, clueless creep who's always ranting about disturbing things. Shoji from Nanase's friend group expresses her frustration with Haruto, calling his entire personality irritating and unbearable. She adds that they've decided to teach the chubby guy a lesson, and now it's time to play a game with him. Wakaba, confused, asks why she has to confess. Nanase smirks, saying she is just as clueless as she looks. She continues to describe Haruto as a gross, awkward nerd who has never had a girlfriend. Noticing Wakaba's puzzled expression, Nanase points out her beautiful face and asks if she knows what will happen once she shows her feelings. Smiling mischievously, she says that he'll follow her around like a monkey. Shoji outlines the plan that once they get close and their relationship deepens, Haruto will start to think highly of Wakaba. Then they'll reveal that it was all just a prank. When Haruto sticks around her like a cockroach, he'll finally understand his place. Shoji, excited, says that this will ensure they can live the rest of their school life in peace. They just want to teach him a lesson about his worth. Upon hearing this, Wakaba is shocked, as if refusing to go along with their plan. Nanase picks up the broken mirror and says that Wakaba is acting like she has a choice. She threatens to complain to her parents, showing the shattered mirror, reminding Wakaba that she had promised to do whatever Nanase said. They all laugh as Wakaba realizes it was all a setup, and they had been tricking her the entire time. Feeling foolish, Wakaba asks herself why she always takes so long to figure these things out. She doesn't want to be part of the scheme or lie to him. She wishes to have the freedom to choose who to be with and when to express her feelings. However, the situation forces her to stay close to the most disliked guy in school. If Wakaba refuses, they'll just bully her more, and she might end up having to pay more than 10,000 yen for the broken mirror. Nanase starts trying to make herself appealing to Haruto's potential girlfriends. Wakaba, lost in thought, sits quietly with her head down. Nanase mocks and reminds her that it's Class 4. Torimaki tells her that her sweet boyfriend has arrived. As he walks in, Haruto happily greets them, saluting, and proudly announces that he is here to serve them all, straight from Class 1. He asks everyone in Class 4 where he can find Asahina-san since he heard she wanted to talk to him. Just then, his gaze lands on her, and a voice interrupts, saying that they were supposed to be fighting by now. Talk about bad timing. Just then, Bizen enters Class 4, stating that today he will finish the fight once and for all. Haruto tells him to stop with the nonsense, mentioning that he could have waited in their class as well. Furious, Bizen responds that he never leaves things unfinished, and that today he will make a decision. Haruto laughs loudly, slapping his thigh, and remarks that Bizen never misses a chance to make him laugh. Bizen and Haruto start fighting, while Wakaba stands nearby, trembling. Nanase pulls Shoji forward, asking what Bizen is doing there. She mentions that some girls like Bizen, and that they need to make sure he doesn't find out about their plan before time. Shoji, who is scared of Bizen because she knows he's wild and won't listen to her, quickly pushes Wakaba forward. Shoji pulls Wakaba right up to Haruto, leaving him completely confused. He asks if she's really Wakaba Asahina and if she wants to talk to him. Wakaba answers with a yes, feeling nervous. Just then, Nanase steps forward and tells Haruto that Wakaba likes him a lot. Haruto seems uninterested, as if it doesn't matter to him, and thinks this act deserves a 4 out of 10. Nanase gets angry, insisting that she's telling the truth and asks Wakaba to confirm it. She lowers her head and quietly agrees. Haruto, in disbelief, drops to his knees and starts yelling like a madman, asking if this is really true. He can't believe that this is actually happening because he never expected anything like this in real life. It feels like a scene straight out of a crappy teen movie. Haruto's shock causes him to lose his breath, as though he's fainting. Wakaba tries to speak but can't say anything, her head lowered. Haruto, in complete disbelief, starts shouting again. Wakaba, standing there dryly, thinks that now she'll have to become his girlfriend and it's not too late to tell him it's all a prank. But just then, she remembers Nanase's threat, and she loses the courage to defend herself. She realizes there's no way out of this. She can't stop herself from trembling, nor can she run away. Reluctantly, Wakaba has to say the words that she likes him and pleads with him to go out with her. After saying all this, Wakaba feels a bit uncomfortable, while Haruto seems frozen in shock as if he's completely paralyzed by what he just heard. Bison waves his hand in front of Haruto's face, trying to figure out what's wrong with him. At this point, Bison starts advising Wakaba to forget about Haruto, explaining that he's a weirdo with no interest in real-life 3D girls and is only obsessed with his 2D waifus. Bison adds that even he is amazed by Haruto's crazy dedication and suggests Wakaba would be better off forgetting him forever. Just then, Haruto smacks Bison across the face and declares that he's absolutely willing to go. He dramatically begs in front of Asahina-san, pleading that if she really wants him, he'll definitely go out with her. Haruto joyfully celebrates Spring's arrival, proud he never gave Wakaba false hope, and calls out to his father, declaring victory. Bison reminds him of his vow to the 2D goddess, but Haruto laughs it off, denying it. Frustrated, Bison punches him, but Haruto, unfazed, keeps searching for love in Wakaba's eyes. Haruto shyly asks if Wakaba will really stay with him, unsure of what she means. He then asks if they are each other's girlfriend and boyfriend. She responds with a quiet yes, filling Haruto's eyes with tears of happiness. Overwhelmed, he joyfully declares that if this is a dream, he wants to live in this dream forever. Haruto thanks her sincerely. Wakaba's eyes fill with tears as she wants to apologize, but then bows her head and congratulates him on the new relationship. Nanase claps happily, saying they both look great together. Wakaba, hiding her emotions, responds with a simple thank you. Haruto asks Nanase if she's Asahina's friend, to which Nanase quickly affirms and even nudges Wakaba to confirm. Wakaba acknowledges it, and Haruto apologizes for asking weird questions earlier. Just then, Bison calls Haruto, mentioning if their conversation is over, they should head back. Bison, frustrated, says her right leg has been restless all day and is telling her to do something to Haruto. Haruto tells Bison to go back to class as their classmates are waiting. Haruto tells Wakaba that his friends are waiting for him, so he has to leave. But then, shyly, he asks if she would like to walk home together after school, as he wants to introduce her to his friends. Wakaba pretends to be happy and agrees to go with him. As they bid each other farewell, Wakaba watches Haruto leave, and the moment he disappears from view, she sinks to her knees. Restlessness fills her heart, and a deep sense of unease takes over as if a storm of emotions is swirling within her. Nanase starts laughing and teasing Wakaba, joking about how she actually confessed to that chubby guy. All the classmates join in, mocking Wakaba for actually pulling it off and making the chubby guy cry tears of joy. Nanase continues teasing her, saying that Wakaba will be her girlfriend until the game is over. She also realizes that Haruto is an eternal bachelor and hints that maybe Toriumeki could help him out. Everyone bursts into loud laughter. Looking at Wakaba's situation, they comment that she looks like a depressed girl, and Haruto is a bulky, unattractive guy. They joke about how cute the couple seems. Wakaba realizes she told a huge, unforgettable lie that will only cause regret. After school, she meets Haruto's friends and notices Haruto's happiness after her confession. She can't help but worry about what will happen when he finds out it was all just a prank. Haruto introduces her to his friends, Nakagawa, his childhood friend, and Ruchi Bison, his crime partner since junior class. Nakagawa warmly welcomes Wakaba and encourages her to address him casually, while Bizun playfully assures her that he'll look after her. Wakaba responds politely, expressing her happiness to meet them. Upon hearing her first name, Haruto comments that it sounds as lovely as her appearance. Nakagawa is surprised, realizing Haruto didn't even know her first name until now. Bizun teases Haruto, saying he hadn't even noticed Wakaba until they met in class, but he doesn't mind. Nakagawa congratulates him, believing they'll grow closer over time. Bizun taps Nakagawa, wishing him good luck and acknowledging Haruto's success. Overcome with joy, Haruto thanks his friends with tears in his eyes. Bizun says the introduction is over and they should leave now. Nakagawa agrees, suggesting that the two should spend some alone time together. When Haruto asks, Bizun mentions he has soccer practice and Nakagawa has something to do. They both head off, while Haruto waves goodbye, saying they'll meet again tomorrow. His friends leave, saying that he looks really cute with Wakaba. Haruto shyly says that his friendship with them is very special, and it's great to talk openly about anything. Wakaba looks confused. Haruto then suggests that they should head home, and Wakaba agrees. Wakaba was walking quietly towards home when suddenly she spotted Nanase standing in front of the school building, staring at her. Memories of their earlier conversation flooded back, especially when Nanase had congratulated her on having a boyfriend and explained how they now had to stay together as a couple. It felt like a new responsibility for Wakaba. Seeing her anxiousness, Haruto asked if something was wrong, to which she replied with a simple nothing and continued walking in silence. On their way back home, Haruto seemed very nervous, constantly trying to keep the conversation going with Wakaba. He asked about her hobbies, TV shows, and her family, making an effort to keep the conversation flowing. However, Wakaba could only give short, odd answers. She started to feel that Haruto might be thinking of her as an awkward and boring girl. Haruto asks if Wakaba's house is nearby, to which she replies that it is just a little further down the road and that she will go home alone from there. Haruto agrees. With a hint of sadness, Wakaba reflects on the day, thinking that the task is done and it will soon come to an end, as according to Nanase, it is just another assignment. As Haruto prepares to say goodbye, he tells her that they will meet at school tomorrow. When she remains silent, he gently asks if something is wrong. After a brief pause, Wakaba hesitantly asks if he's free on Saturday. Haruto pauses, uncertainty in his eyes, before responding with a soft tone that he is not sure. Wakaba, gathering all her courage, takes a deep breath and asks him, her voice trembling slightly, if he would like to go on a date with her. The day of the date arrives. Wakaba, all dressed up, walks towards the meeting place with nervousness, thinking to herself that this is the first time in her life she's going on a date with a boy. She knows these are some of the most special moments in anyone's life. But for her, today is also a bittersweet reality, a day that will be remembered, though not in the way she expected. She checks the weather and finds out it will be cloudy, wishing for rain to cancel the date. A frightening thought flashes back to her mind when she was confessing to Haruto, unable to believe that she would actually go on a date with someone like him. She starts cursing her life and looks at the time, realizing that only 15 minutes are left before the date begins. At that moment, Haruto is seen standing nervously in the park, trembling as it's his first date. Soon, Wakaba arrives. In his nervousness, Haruto starts waving his hand repeatedly, signaling that he's there. Wakaba, trying to calm herself, encourages her own behavior to appear happy. As she reaches him, she forces a smile and asks if she made him wait too long. Haruto, still waving his hand, reassures her that it's not a big deal and mentions that they still have time. Shyly, he says that now they're finally going on the date. Wakaba, with a strange expression, replies that it's a good thing. They begin walking together, but Wakaba seems disinterested and irritated, even though Haruto keeps trying to engage her in conversation. She pretends to be happy, masking her discomfort. Haruto comments on how it's a bit ironic that the weather is cloudy on their date, but assures her they will still enjoy it. Wakaba, with a resigned expression, agrees. They proceed to enter a cinema hall, where it's crowded with a long line of people. While navigating through the rush, Haruto asks what kind of movie they should watch and wonders if she would prefer a romantic movie over horror or action. Wakaba suggests watching the latest trending movie. Noticing a poster on the wall, she points to White Lily's movie and asks how it would be. Haruto nods and says he'll go buy the tickets for it. Haruto reassures Wakaba not to worry, telling her he'll go get the tickets and will be back soon, so she shouldn't feel anxious. As he walks away, Wakaba stands there, stunned, reflecting on how, apart from her family, it's been a long time since anyone has been so kind to her. She begins to wonder when was the last time someone cared for her this much. Haruto and Wakaba sit together as the movie begins, but a trailer starts playing. Wakaba recalls Futaba, who used to complain about trailers, saying people come to watch the movie, not the previews. Wakaba chuckles, thinking how watching Futaba get so impatient always made her happy. Wakaba remarks that she's been lost in the movie for quite some time now and muses that if she doesn't focus on the person beside her, she might forget that she's actually on a date. It's been a while since she has been in the cinema, and decides to fully immerse herself in the experience, savoring the movie on her own. Gradually, Wakaba becomes more absorbed, watching the scenes with growing interest and a sense of contentment. As the moment unfolds, Haruto, sensing an opportunity, gently places his hand over Wakaba's. A wave of shock washes over her, and in a swift motion, she pulls her hand away with a soft, startled gasp. The surrounding crowd takes notice of the awkwardness, and Wakaba, flushed with embarrassment, quickly mumbles an apology. Haruto, equally flustered, insists it was his fault, confessing he had overstepped. His vulnerability, however, makes Wakaba wonder if this moment felt just as ordinary to him as it felt overwhelming to her. Wakaba, still holding Haruto's hand, nervously says that since they are now a couple, this kind of thing was bound to happen, apologizing for her reaction. Haruto, overwhelmed with panic, quickly covers his face, trembling as he repeatedly says that it is all his fault. Just then, the movie ends, and the crowd begins to exit the hall. They both step outside, and as they walk, Haruto suddenly stops, lowers his head in front of Wakaba, and, with genuine regret, says that he is so embarrassed by what he did. He apologizes again and asks her to forgive him. Haruto admits he has zero experience with romance and has never been on a date before, which made him act a bit impatient. Wakaba reassures him, saying there's no need to keep apologizing for such a small matter. With a smile, Haruto asks how he can make it up to her, suggesting they still have time before lunch and could go shopping. Wakaba agrees, and as Haruto looks around for a good shop, she notices one behind him. However, his attention shifts to an arcade, and he suggests spending some time there, heading toward the gaming zone and leaving Wakaba momentarily puzzled. Inside, the atmosphere buzzes with activity as people immerse themselves in various challenges. Haruto, captivated by the lively scene, notices several fresh additions to the lineup. Turning to Wakaba, he asks which games she'd like to try first. She hesitantly replies that she hasn't been to such places before, so she's not familiar with them. Smiling cheerfully, Haruto tells her that in that case, this inexperienced Haruto will guide her through the world of games today. Haruto withdraws money from the machine and exchanges it with coins. Seeing this, Wakaba tells him that she should pay for the games instead. Haruto, knowing that she had already paid for the food and drinks earlier, assures her that it balances out. He feels genuinely happy seeing Wakaba so thoughtful and considerate about him. While handling the coins, he asks Wakaba which game she would like to play first. He explains that the UFO catcher game is the easiest, but the machine is broken and costs more than it's worth. Then he asks if she enjoys TV quiz shows. When she nods and curiously asks why, he points to a game and suggests they try it. Wakaba hesitates, and Haruto, sensing her uncertainty, encourages her, saying it's a fun way to test her knowledge. He enthusiastically picks a category and presses the button to start the quiz. She gradually answers each question, her confidence building as she reaches the final round. Both she and Haruto gaze intently at the screen, the tension palpitating.